Secretary Sue, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today and for your strong history of fighting to ensure that every American has access to good-paying jobs and to support themselves and their families. One of the things I hear most about when folks are coming up to D.C. or when I'm back home in Georgia is about workforce shortages. I hear that again and again and again and again. And whether you're building a hospital or trying to find the nurses and support staff to take care of the patients who'll be treated there, there's a serious disconnect between the good careers that are available in today's economy and the skills that are needed to perform these jobs. Courses like the Inside Wireman Telecommunications and Construction Electrician programs offered at the Atlanta JATC Electrical Training Center in Peachtree Corners, which is my district in Georgia, they actually pay their students to learn. Instead of being forced to take out thousands of dollars in loans to better themselves through education, they are being paid a decent wage and given room to grow while they obtain the skills necessary to move their families and our country forward. Secretary Sue, it's clear that we need to be doing more to get Americans into these careers so that we can see the full benefit of our bipartisan investments through the infrastructure package and the CHIPS and the Science Act that were signed into law by President Biden. What has the DOL done under your leadership to support and encourage workforce development programs? You've spoken most candidly about that. I want to give you more time to expand upon that. And are there particular programs that you would like to highlight for us at this time?
Thank you very much, Congresswoman, for that question and also for highlighting other examples of how the workforce system at its best does its work. I think one of the things that your example highlights too, and this relates to a question that was asked from the other side of the dais, which is, how are we lifting up the ideas, the innovation of local communities, right? Much of workforce development works best when it is place-based, when it's meeting specific needs in communities. And we have seen our job at the Department of Labor as helping to support those kinds of innovations on the ground. Our sector-based investments are very much about that. It's about supporting employers coming together in their communities with other workforce partners to design training programs that are going to meet their needs. It's about working with employers to signal and forecast what the jobs that they're creating are going to be. That is the best and most effective way to activate the rest of the system, right? To get community colleges to make sure that their curriculum and their offerings are responsive to actual jobs that people can get after they complete any kind of program. I think that we build credibility in the system also when we say at the outset, this program is going to lead to an actual job at the end at the end of your training. And so we have invested in sector-based partnerships. We have also been working to meet needs that are well documented now for in certain industries. Many of them were devastated by the pandemic. So nursing, for example, right? I think in every community there's a need to build our nursing workforce. They did heroic work. And we need to invest back in them. And so the Department of Labor has a $80 million funding announcement for nurses. We also know, this is where, really understanding what the problem is to address it is important, that the issue is not just having enough nurses, it's also having enough clinical instructors so that nurses can get the clinical hours that they need before they go to work. So our funding announcement is meant to incentivize both of those paths.
Thank you. I have one more question to ask you, though.
Please.
Registered apprenticeships are a key component of workforce development, and they provide a clear path to good-paying jobs. We know that. We know this has worked. What has the department done to encourage registered apprenticeships? And so we're clear, registered apprenticeships are not just restricted to union jobs. Am I correct?
That is 100% correct, Congresswoman. In fact, the majority of apprenticeships that we have supported, that the Department of Labor registered apprenticeships in the last year have not been with union employers. But we have been doing work, for example, in cybersecurity, right? That is a growing industry of good jobs. And one of the things that we did is in a 4-month period, we were able to begin and support enough programs to put 16,000 new apprentices in the cybersecurity industry. Again, many of those, all of them private sector and many of them non-union jobs. We also in trucking, right? Everyone has talked about the supply chain challenges, and trucking is one of them. In a 3-month period, we worked with over 700 employers and industry associations to set up trucking apprenticeships. And what we have seen in doing that is that we can, again, both solve supply chain issues and good jobs issues.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I think you can submit those things in
Thank you.
writing.
Thank you.
Mr.